Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Threads Cultural Conversations. And today I have the opportunity to have Professor Heesoon Bai with us, who is in the philosophy of education as a professor at Simon Fraser University in the Vancouver campus. So welcome, Heesoon.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah. You're welcome. And I initially learned of you when I listened to one of your presentations that you gave at Nuremberg in Germany in 2016. And I was absolutely taken by your unique approach to education and the philosophy of education. So I guess maybe one of the best questions to ask might start with, what is your teaching philosophy and what is your approach?
Okay. Oh, all right. Let's see. A little bit of building up I need to do because in talking about my teaching philosophy, the exercise I've done many times, it's important that I distinguish person as a teacher and person as an instructor. And they, in the academy, in the university setting, we are all considered instructors. And that doesn't serve my purpose in framing my teaching philosophy. So let me just very quickly explain the difference, the way I see it. Instructor instructs subject matter, something to the students. So the focus is on that something. Mm-hmm. So I'll be a failure as an instructor if I don't address the something. And as an instructor, I'll be successful if I manage to get my students learn that something. So that's great. You know, we do need instructors. Teacher is a little different. Teachers, of course, can instruct and have that component. But teachers must have a sense that they are looking after, caring for, caring about and caring for their students under their teacherly care. I will put under their teacherly care. Okay. So the focus is on the person that you're working with as a teacher. So mentorship is very important, the kind of guidance, and I will not hesitate to use the word spiritual mm-hmm. guidance, and the kind of emotional resonance that you need to have with the students, and knowing where the students are at in any given moment. Mm-hmm. And the idea that, you know, you can be a best instructor and get the best learning going, but you pay no attention to the students and their well-being. That's just, yes. So the educational philosophy, in fact, that I developed over time is really focused on that we need to really have an understanding of the person that we're working with. And students come with all their whole, if you like, whole package. You know, their whole life is in front of you. Even if you see that person for 2 minutes, their whole life is in front of you. And they are in many ways communicating that. And so you need to understand where your students are. So my teaching philosophy that I developed has been developed in the context of witnessing so much suffering in the world at large, mm-hmm. because we all went through a schooling and education systems and so on. And I could really talk about the schooling or education, kind of education that hurt people very badly. Yeah. Okay. So my teaching philosophy is really about how to redress the harm that's been done. So how do we work with the students in ways that they address the students and the suffering they're experiencing? And okay. We don't even see. I mean, it's like a classroom setting is one in which basically implicitly you're told, just put away all your personal whatever, it's going to be, whatever the head, I guess, right? And that, of course, exacerbates the suffering. So it's a holistic, whatever name we want to give, there are all those, so I go by, contemplative pedagogy, holistic pedagogy, and existential pedagogy, all those. So it's very important for me that I always keep this larger focus on mind, even if
Okay.
I'm in the nitty-gritty. Yes.
Well, it sounds like you are helping them find a purpose in life and setting them on a new course, perhaps for good, to transform themselves. So, might I ask the question, in terms of your teaching, how does one transform themselves through education?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you said transform themselves, because again, in the current environment, I just see how much of external mandate, external compulsion is going into students. Everybody wants the students' um, attention. They want students to, from buying, so much of their life is bombarded by this and by that, do this and do that. And we teachers are part of that. Learn this, learn that. If you don't learn, then you're going to push shopping cart or whatever, I mean, the implicit and explicit, all those. So it's really about students finding their path, and in order for them to do that, transformation you're talking about, they need to feel that they are in the position and have the power to transform themselves.
Mm.
And
Okay.
to get into that state and stage, or however you want to put it, is a long-term process. And that process is one and the same as healing that I talk about, because we are wounded from the external life impositions, from media to politics, everything.
Yes. Yes, I understand. Well, I had picked out from your other talk, you mentioned some very rich things. For example, harmony and balance, and mindfulness, heartfulness, intellect at the same time. So mind, body, spirit. Could you maybe speak a little bit more to that? I remember yin yang, many things, Taoist, Buddhist rooted, but are also interwoven with Western philosophers, Eastern philosophers, and then also practices. Could you just very briefly tell us what that is and how you tell us more?
Yeah, briefly. Wow, that's a huge challenge. I would say the most important thing here is inner focus. Again, one piece with what I said before, we are so drawn outward because, and this is not to criticize ourselves, because the social system, cultural system, the civilization is set up to draw people out of themselves. And one time I even said in one of my publications, education and everything else is like a vampire operation, I said. It's constantly sucking energy and attention out of people. And they direct them to external goods, whether it's wealth or power or, it's just, so we need to refocus. We need to give ourselves the opportunity to refocus on heart, mind, or however, and body, very important.
So
in body.
give us some inspiration, heart, mind, and body. Yeah. Some thoughts from philosophers, heart, mind, and body. How might we do that? Can you give us?
Oh, well, I mean, since you mentioned the East and West, I studied, Eastern philosophy, Western, all those. Anyway, interesting enough, as you know, the Western philosophy, the traditional classical, the whole tradition is about developing the rational mind and intellect and so on. Well, way back, Pascal, the French mathematician and philosopher, 17th, 16th, 17th, recon dates, but he said something about heart has its own reasons. So I was really delighted when I found that line from his work. So it's not as though West is lacking in that kind of understanding.
I see.
Just the accentuation of the rational mind and logical mind and scientific mind and all that, right? So again, because that has been the focus, we have not developed.
I see. So you tease out, you reach back into the older philosophers and you tease out the richness, the mindfulness of the heart, right?
Yes. Hellenistic philosophers I mentioned, but my go-to place is Taoist and
yes. Give us an example from the East so that we can see the perspectives and
Sure.
perceptions. So one line from a philosopher from the East, maybe.
I don't think I can give you one line because I don't memorize lines, but I'll just say that I studied Buddhism very deeply. That's my scholarship, but they're because now they're talking about science of mindfulness and all this, right? Every time you put science, somehow people listen. But what it is that if you pay attention to your consciousness, to your awareness, to what's happening in your emotional life and all those emotional life, energetic life and spiritual life and so on, you get to know what is happening within, right? And the Buddhist practice, whether it's meditation, there are billion forms of meditation. So it's mindfulness is basically you pay full attention. Mind not in the sense of intellect, but it's a full attention to what's going on within. That's the inner life.
So mindfulness is the full concentration on what's going on within.
Yes, what's going on within. That's one part of so-called mindfulness. It can get very technical. There's another, which is gaining insight from observing yourself. Then you get to see the patterns that you are running, including unhelpful patterns. People who tend to criticize themselves, hitting themselves all the time, and the negative rumination. All those are revealed, and so then you practice loving kindness, compassion, and those kind of systematically, daily practice of compassion giving to yourself, being kind. So this is internal and external, being kind to others and being kind to yourself. There's like a no distinction, being kind, be kind, yes. And that's
yes, we forget that. Often we forget that, and we're not kind to ourselves, and so we're not kind to those around us. Yes, very true.
Yes.
Are there any words of inspiration from poets? I think I remember you quoting William Blake.
Right. Actually, I was anticipating that you asked me. I don't know if I mentioned in the interviews before, but what I like to emphasize is this going into your core and depth of your being and getting to know and all this is a long term, is a process oriented. So it's a journey. So finding meaning, you're talking about purpose and so on. It's not like you can just get a package of that. It is through taking that journey, inner journey with yourself. You are the companion of you're the lifetime companion of your life, right?
Yes, true.
Yeah. So Rainer Maria Rilke, the German poet,
yes,
he had probably you're familiar. And
I am familiar with Rilke. Yeah.
Yes. He had. There's a passage in his letter to a young poet, and people often take out a one line, but I'll read a few sentences here. And he addressing this poet, he says, I would like to beg you, talking to this poet, to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for answers which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. Perhaps you do carry within you the possibility of creating and forming as an especially blessed and pure way of life. Train yourself for that, but take whatever comes. ...
Oh, and that's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. And living your way into the answer. into the answers. That is just beautiful. And it's that part that inspired me about how you entwine poetry and philosophy and the emotions across cultures that I found so rich. And I think we have a prime example of that. I think you have a doctoral student, Denise Findlay, that you go into this discussion with more in depth. And so what I'd like to do right now is direct our audience to view that film in the Threads library, because it's an extensive 45-minute talk between Heesoon and Denise. So I'm afraid I have to close now, Heesoon, but it's been wonderful having this brief introduction to your work. And we direct our audiences to your work within the Threads library. So thank you for sharing today. And thank you for giving us a little bit of Rilke.
Oh, thank you so much, Anita. This has been really blessed. So thank you. Thank you.